Hi, my name is Jacqueline Ly. I'm a third-year history PhD student studying Latin American history. And this summer I went to London for my research, thanks to money from RITM. So my research is on the Bay of Honduras and the Mosquito Shore in the 18th century. So the Bay of Honduras occupied the region that is today Belize. You'll see it in yellow on the map labeled British Honduras. And the Mosquito Shore occupied the Caribbean coast of modern-day southern Honduras and Nicaragua. So it comes down the pink and green here on the right side of the screen. So the significance of the time and place come into play in the context of early modern Atlantic empires. Here specifically, we're dealing with Britain and Spain by right of discovery and the authority of the Papal Bull of 1493, claimed absolute sovereignty over the entire expanse of the Americas west of the line drawn in the Treaty of Tordesillas. So of course, this is how it worked in theory, but in reality, Spain didn't have the manpower, and the Spanish authorities on the ground didn't have the inclination to completely explore and take a hold of the territory in all of Spanish America. And especially on this Caribbean coast of New Spain, the terrain was jungle-filled and the coastline was treacherous, and so Europeans really made few entries into this region. The British eventually came to get a foothold here, in the bay in particular, in the yellow area. And as the historiographic myth goes, in the golden age of buccaneering, as it comes to an end, the buccaneers who would have been among the best sailors of this region would have been able to navigate the treacherous keys and reefs coming into the bay. So you can see the map of the water as it moves around these islands. It would have been really hard to actually access the landmass of this coast of Central America. So as Jamaica changes hands from Spain to Britain in the late 17th century and sugar planters are beginning to establish their lucrative businesses here, the European powers agreed that buccaneering needed to come to an end in this new age of order in the Caribbean. So as a result, the buccaneers who had been operating in the Caribbean sought new sources of income, and they turned to enterprises they had already been starting, which were cutting logwood and mahogany from this region. So as these trades expand, Spain and Britain began to vie for sovereignty over the region, and the traditional story that's told of this is about an Anglo-Spanish conflict. So my question in researching this has been challenging the historiography to look at other sides that are not simply about European sovereignty, and specifically about the Mosquito Indians who actually held territorial, political, and political control of this region. And a geographer, Carl, often writes that this region was only called Mosquito or the Mosquito Shore because of the mosquito spatial practices. Otherwise, it would have only been some other place in Central America. So my research looks at how the Mosquito Indians were not only crucial in facilitating European forays into the region, but also I'd like to take seriously the words themselves. So for example, why has sovereignty not been used in the historiography of this region? And how can we apply that, taking into account contemporary challenges that the Mosquito people still face with the Nicaraguan government, and questioning the ethics and how far we can actually push the history and questions in this region. So that's my work. Thank you.